Hey guys, Lyra Links here, and today, for the first time, I am going to be trying out a new series. I've been wanting to do something where I can talk about anime I'm watching, manga that I'm currently reading, and like video games and stuff that I am playing, and hopefully interact with some of y'all, recommend some stuff, see if anybody else is digging what I'm digging. So, I wanted to split it up into first talking about anime, then manga, and then video games. So this might be structured a little weird at first as I figure out how I want to do this and explain this. And hopefully I won't ramble on for 3 years, because I totally could. But I will warn you ahead of time, most of what I have been into right now has been manga, so I don't have a lot to say in the anime section. I technically haven't even watched anime this week, and I'd like to make this a weekly thing. However, I will talk about some anime that I have finished recently and am looking to finish. So, very recently, just a while ago, I finished season 4 of My Hero Academia. Let it be known also, since I'm talking about what I'm currently reading and where I am currently at in a series, there will be spoilers. I am not liable if you get spoiled. I'm going to talk about where I am currently at within a specific series. So, I finished season 4 of My Hero Academia, and man, was it an emotional roller coaster, honestly. I really didn't expect to put so much feeling into this show. The other 3 seasons, they were good, but I just feel like I have an attachment to the characters way more than before. There's a lot more depth going on finally, which I like. However, I do have a couple complaints. Ooh, oh no, I'm criticizing one of the most popular anime right now. But, as I already warned, spoilers here, but after Sir Night Eye's death, I just kind of felt a bit weird. I felt like it was important in this series for there to be a death eventually, in a way, since, realistically, when fighting villains, heroes are not always going to be able to triumph, and one side or the other. I feel like casualties are inevitable, and I was nervous that this show was going to completely avoid kind of like exploring that, since nothing super bad had happened to any of the characters yet. It mentions that All Might could die, but, nothing to this depth yet. But even though I'm actually glad that they introduced death into a series so that the characters could grow and realize, oh shoot, being a hero could actually get me killed, all that, it bothers me that the character they chose to off was a character that was just introduced within that season, so you barely had any time to actually attach to him, even though I did like him a lot, and I really would have liked to see him develop and see more of him. And I like that there was this strange dynamic with him and All Might, and obviously it really hurt All Might to see him go, and he forgave him in the end. But it just kind of bothers me in a way, because I feel like it's so easy to just introduce a new character and then kill them off. I feel like there's a lot more depth there if you get rid of a character that you've had a lot of time to get emotionally attached to. I know that death is a thing that's very sudden, and that's like a story element that can be included, but it didn't really feel like it was intentionally in that sort of direction. I don't really know how to explain that very well, but I think that if a character that was well established had actually passed, that it just would have made so much more of an impact. So I mean, even though I am sad about Night Eye, it's a little unfortunate. Also, it's pretty sad that they introduce a new epic character like Mirio, and then immediately they're just like, screw you and your powers. Haha, those are gone too. And even though they did a better job with Mirio in getting you attached to him and making that seem like a huge loss, since he could have been a potential successor to All Might, it's just, I also feel like I would have felt even worse if it had been a power from a quirk, I should say, from somebody who is already well established in the series. But that's just my own take. I thought that season 4 was really great. I really loved the fight against Chisaki. Again, that's the thing. You introduce a new badass character like Overhaul, and then you just cut off his arms and leave him. It's just too easy to introduce new characters like that and then get rid of them. I feel like it's just trying to avoid getting rid of the popular characters so that maybe fans won't be mad. But I know that My Hero fans can sometimes be kind of toxic anyway. But we're not going to get into that. I also have been having a really tough time of getting through Fate Apocrypha. I started it like an eternity ago, and I'm still in the process of watching it. There's now like a huge fight starting to go on between the two teams, and yeah, it's just been really hard for me to finish for some reason. I really do love the Fate series. I really want to watch the original. I've seen Unlimited Blade Works and Fate Zero. I think that's about it. But yeah, I want to get further into the series. It's really fun. I've got a ton of Saber figures up over there. She is like my eternal waifu. But my favorite character so far within this series has to be Astolfo. I just love her so much. And before you try to correct me, Astolfo is a trans woman, so I'm just going to refer to her by the pronouns that I feel like she would want to be referred by, so y'all don't need to tell me that she's a trap. I realize. But anyway, she's my favorite. She's just so upbeat. I'm a real sucker for the pink-haired anime characters too, so she's just so adorable. I love her so much. And she just seems like a pure bean. Frankenstein, I kind of like her too. I have a little bit of mixed feelings because she just kind of seems like brutish in certain ways, and she doesn't really talk or anything, so you can't get to know her super well. But I kind of like the dynamic that she has with her master. It seems like there could be something going on there almost. Ooh. But I have not gotten around to finishing it. I don't know why this is so hard for me to get into, but I feel like since there are twice as many characters, it's just harder for me to keep track of, and I can't really care about as many of them, personally. But that is just my opinion. There's more to see yet, so I could end up changing my opinion, who knows. But other than that, there are a lot of anime that I want to watch or want to continue watching, but I haven't really gotten around to it. I'm currently reading the Demon Slayer manga, so I'd like to see the anime. I haven't seen season 2 of Danmachi. I said forever ago that I wanted to watch it, and I started to rewatch the very first episode because I decided I wanted to restart from season 1, but I have not continued either. Also, I got a ton of compliments on the fairy tale shirt that I stole from my boyfriend yesterday, and that's pushing me to want to watch further there, because I'm kind of like beyond the Erasion Seis arc, starting up a new arc, and it's about time that I went back to it, honestly. But anyway, that's enough rambling about anime, I suppose, since there isn't anything super specific that I'm watching right now. I have started, though, the 1999 version of Hunter x Hunter. I've seen the 2011 version, and it just really made me want to watch the old series. I actually kind of dig the old style, and it's kind of crazy how some characters differ from those original designs. But yeah, anyway, getting into manga. Speaking of Hunter x Hunter, I also want to start reading the manga. I've only made it to chapter 2 thus far, but I keep seeing spoilers for it all over TikTok. It's so infuriating in a way, but at the same time, I'm too curious to not look. So it's also my fault. I spoil series for myself all the time just because I'm way too curious and I want to know what happens. But if anything, it's just made me want to read the manga more so that I can get to those parts, so that I can see the depth there, so that I can know. Hunter x Hunter has just been a series that's so important to me. and ugh, I just love it so much. I want to cosplay so many of the characters. That's also a thing that I'd like to include in these types of videos that I didn't mention. I want to talk about my current cosplays and any cos plans that I have. So I'll save that for the end for now, but I've cosplayed a couple Hunter x Hunter characters so far. None of them are complete because I don't have proper outfits for them. I just kind of throw things together and have some wigs and stuff, and I try to do my makeup as well as possible, but I've done Hisoka, Illumi, and Kaluto so far, and I think that I'd really like to do Komugi next, but I don't have any supplies yet. But hopefully, because I adore her so much. I think that she is so underrated, and I love her. So I'd like to continue reading in the manga there. And as I just mentioned, I am reading Demon Slayer. I'm pretty sure I'm in the 170s chapter-wise, so I've made it pretty far. It is my intention to finish it tonight. So by the next time that I make one of these, you'll get to hear maybe my full thoughts there on Demon Slayer. But I actually like a lot of the characters in this series. I'm gonna spoil some deaths, so if you don't want to hear that, then you don't want to hear me go on. But even the characters that I didn't like initially, like Muichiro, I feel like everybody just sort of has a way of getting redemption in this series. Even the demons, you'll see their past lives as humans, and everybody just has such a rough backstory. Everybody's gone through a lot. It's kind of interesting because both the demon hunters and the demons went through such rough situations, but then they diverged on opposite paths. And it's something that I really like about it. Although a complaint that I have about Demon Slayer is that, I mean, it's really weird. The pacing just changes everywhere, I feel like sometimes. Like, training is just kind of like a quick monologue kind of thing. It's just like in one of those exercise movies where you just go through a montage and then all of a sudden everything's good. And then sometimes there are fights that drag on for forever to the point where I'm like, you gonna kill the demon? You gonna do it? And then there are other parts still where I'm reading it and it's so fast paced and I'm just like, whoa, slow down. This is a cool concept. But you know, I feel like a lot of stories are kind of like that. It kind of goes around. Some stuff feels rushed, other parts kind of continue on. It's just part of watching anime, honestly. But I really do like it a lot. I feel like most of the characters are very lovable. I really like Mitsuri Kanroji because I want to cosplay her. She's so cute. Like I said, I'm a sucker for the pink hair and the pink and green and just everything about her is so cute. And I've always, for some reason, been interested in like the love magic. So for her to have love powers and stuff like that, it's just cool. I like her technique. I think her sword is so awesome. And one thing I do love about the series is how everybody has their own strengths and weaknesses. And for example, she's very feminine and all that, so but she's still strong and she develops a style that works for her. Everybody finds a style that works really well for them because she's flexible. She ends up with a flexible sword that just kind of goes everywhere. And I think it's really unique how Demon Slayer sets up its techniques and stuff. I just feel like everybody really has their own thing going for them, and they learn how to work with themselves so well. I also really loved Rengoku, but that's another complaint I have about the series. I feel like, I don't want to say that the deaths didn't have depth, because it made me sad, but not heart-wrenching enough for me to cry. And in Rengoku's case, I feel like they introduced him so quickly and offed him so quickly. It's a complaint like I had earlier. Even as much as I liked him and started to attach to him, I didn't have enough time to attach to him. Like, his final words and his dying smile, that almost got me, but I feel like it would have really gotten me if we had spent more time with this character. I really wanted to see more of him. He was just such a pure, wholesome dude. So many of these characters are pure, wholesome dudes. Like, I can't remember his name. Is it Tame? I really can't remember. The freaking pillar that is blind and uses rock breaths. Wow, I sound like I don't read it at all, but there are just so many characters and so many names, it's hard to distinguish. I really like Gyu, I really like Inosuke, like I said, I like Mitsuri, she's cool, and I've come to like Muichiro a lot more than at first. And that's just really the greatest thing about this series. Everybody has a determination to keep moving forward. They're willing to risk their lives if it's for the greater good. And they just don't give up no matter what. Humanity is stubborn. They'll rise up against any demon, even if it costs them their lives. Like Shinobu. Oh my gosh. You see, that is a death that kind of hurts. Because she was present through so much of the series. She helped so many people at her estate to get better and to encourage them and train them. She had just so much anger in her heart, and I felt truly a lot of sympathy for her. I wanted to see her avenge her sister, and though she did, it makes me sad that she had to lose her life for that, because I feel like she deserves so much better. She lived so much of her time fighting demons and just being so angry. And that hurts my heart. She deserves so much better. But anyway, that's enough for Demon Slayer right now. I went to the new bookstore in town and I picked up some manga. And I have been waiting for so long to be able to talk about these, honestly. But, woohoo, location change. I picked up the first 3 volumes of Toilet Bound Hanako-kun first, and oh my goodness, this series seems so good. I'm excited to continue onward in it. I've seen a lot of TikTok cosplays of these characters, and I have to say, a little bit tempted to cosplay Nene, because she's just so cute, like, honestly. Also, I'm simping a little bit too hard for Mr. Spider over here. I can't remember his name for the life of me. That's so bad. But I go through so many series after a while, it becomes really hard to remember who everyone is. And yeah, I really want to reread these first 3 volumes also. But yeah, I've only read them once through thus far. But I really like him so much. I feel like this series is just going to keep building. I really didn't know what to expect when I first started reading it. Even after reading the summary, it just seems like it's so much different than I expected. There are these 7 school mysteries, and they each have different abilities. And depending on the rumors that swirl around about them, they can change, and they could be good at one point, but if somebody thinks and spreads rumors that they're evil, then they become that way. And there's just a lot going on within the school that's even deeper than you think. Nene is just kind of a naive character, but I really like her, actually. She reminds me a lot of my younger self, and even though sometimes I want to slap the crap out of my younger self, I get her feeling of just wanting to find someone and find love and all of that. But Hanako-kun kind of calls her out, and he's like, yo, you realize that this is stupid, right? You don't even know any of these people that you're falling in love with. But she ends up being stubborn and trying to use mermaid skills to make somebody fall in love with her, so she ends up getting cursed. So now she's kind of stuck with Hanako-kun. But they don't really have the relationship that I expected for some reason. Hanako-kun obviously has a lot more in his history than we fully know about. The spider teacher man knows him from before he had died. I think it's interesting that Hanako-kun is, you know, based off the Hanako-san legend, and he's a boy for some reason, which I'm wondering if that has a lot of relevance. But he seems like a pretty good dude. He's a very complicated dude. He always seems very happy-go-lucky, but he has a dark past, and it even states that he's a murderer, which is something that comes up kind of at the end of Volume 3, and I guess the person who he killed has come back to see him. It kind of ends on a cliffhanger. It definitely makes me want to continue forward, but I feel like, you know, these first 3 volumes are a good introduction to the premise and get to know the characters a little bit at first, and I'm hoping that after Volume 3 it's like really gonna pick up, because now we're starting to try to learn something about Hanako-kun's past, which he seems to wanna keep hidden. He doesn't even think that his friends should be with him. But I adore it so much. Also, the brothers that are trying to exorcise Hanako-kun, so freaking cute. The little brother, he's so adorable. Love him. And also, I would totally simp for the big brother. Gosh, he's like attractive, but he's kind of an asshole, so. But I love these so much. I kind of want to go into a little bit more depth about these, maybe individually. I don't know if I should do something where I do like volume reviews and just talk through the whole thing. Let me know what kind of format you guys would like there, but I was thinking about doing just like short little videos by volume on my TikTok account. Anyway, moving on to the next manga, I picked up 7 volumes of Komi Can't Communicate. This is so adorable. First I picked up the first 4 volumes and read through them, and then I couldn't help but go back and get the other 3 volumes that they had. So I can't wait for them to have more in stock. Hopefully that'll be very soon. I am going to end up spending all of my weekly budget at there. But it's fine. I decided to pick up this series because I remember when it was really popular. Usually when things get really hyped, sometimes I won't end up watching them, and it's like a really long time before I pick them up, like right now. But I couldn't help it after I saw them, and since it's about social anxiety, I thought that it might be something that I can relate to. I have like a general anxiety, so sometimes it kind of comes out in that social brink. I'm not quite as bad as Komi, who literally can barely speak to people, but I do relate to feelings of not knowing how to express yourself and just wanting to be introverted and alone. Honestly, the older I get, the more comfortable I am with just kind of being alone and don't really as much go into the social scene. So this is just a really pleasant read. It's very wholesome. And I'm just rooting for her. Komi wants to make 100 friends. And so I feel like the series could continue for quite a while if she's gonna get 100 friends. Also, I thought that since they introduce a lot of different characters, obviously she's making 100 friends, which means you need 100 different characters to introduce her to. I thought that, you know, by volume 7 there would be some characters that start to get bland, but everybody really does kind of have their own unique personality and different levels of sociability, which is really cool. I love all of these characters, even though they're like whack jobs and really extreme. I just love them so much. Tadano is so nice in helping out Komi on her quest. I'm also kind of starting to ship the two as they get more awkward and blushy around each other. I think that Tadano is kind of realizing that he has feelings for her, but I don't know necessarily how Komi feels about that. It's nice to see her slowly be able to break out of her shell and gradually talk to more people. Even if she doesn't know fully how to express herself, she tries. She'll write on paper and everything. All of them are a great step from where she was. Everybody just thinks that she's cold and mean because she won't talk, but she's actually just really awkward, and it's just something that I can relate to, and I feel like a lot of other people could. the other main character. There are just so many that are so good. There's freaking, oh, what's his/her name? Like, what was his name? This dude right here that apparently is dressing up as a girl now for no reason. Like, this character is by far the most social. They're friends with everybody. But then there are characters like her in her Chunibyo phase, where she's just kind of like a little bit more loner-ish. And then there's like the big sister type of character, the airhead, slow, take it, relax kind of person. And then you can hardly see her in this one, but then there's this weirdo that I can't remember her name. There are so many characters, it's really hard for me to remember these names. I feel like it just seems like I have not read this at all, but I promised you. But she is also kind of anxious around people and awkward, but she has a really strong interest in Komi. It's very creepy, almost. It reminds me of Inugami in freaking, Gugure Kokiri-san. That's what it's called. It's just like one of those over-the-top, perverted, really into a person characters, and I'm just like, whoa, calm down, girl. But yeah, I've really been enjoying everything that I'm reading so far. Even though I'm not remembering all the characters' names very well, I'm sure as I go through the series, it'll become a lot easier to remember, so. It also doesn't help that I kind of start series and then I'll stop for a while and then I'll go back to them. But this is something that I feel like most anime fans go through. Anyway, moving on into the video game section. I kind of have a similar problem with video games. I started playing Mystery Dungeon Gates to Infinity, and I kind of just stopped playing it after a point. Now Verizian is on their team and all of that, but I haven't done any more dungeons yet. I really like the character Quagsire, though. I would love to voice act for him, just because it seems like it would be so much fun. I keep doing like little voices for it. I really like this Mystery Dungeon game, and I've got a couple more that I can play after I finish, but I actually have to force myself to finish first. Same thing with Pokemon Shield and Animal Crossing New Horizons. I think because I decided that I wanted to do playthroughs of them on my channel, it kind of held me back from wanting to play them on my own. And since I don't have a lot of storage space and all of that, it's been hard to like film for them, because I'd pretty much just have to upload the videos, delete them immediately, take another video, delete that, to be able to continue the process. And you know, I'm just filming with my phone. It's not the same as having a capture card. So I might just finish those on my own so that I can finally have the willpower to get through them and just enjoy them without feeling like I have to put it up on the channel. I'll probably still do little videos where I talk about stuff throughout them and so on, but I feel like that'll motivate me more to actually finish those games. My coworker also gave me a ton of Final Fantasy games for the PS and PS2. So I still have my PS2 and my PlayStation, so I'm going to play those as soon as I have the time, but I know that I'm going to have to invest for those games. It was recommended to me by one of my friends that I start playing Final Fantasy X and then play 10 too, because she thinks that the main girl would be a good cosplay for me. She could see me doing that, and yeah, I can't disagree with her. Based on what the character looks like, she just seems like she would be fun to cosplay. But we'll see. Maybe I'll finally be a Final Fantasy nerd. Also, as far as games that go, I don't play a lot necessarily, because video games are a lot of money. I don't know how people can drop so much money on video games. Like, I know that I buy cosplays and manga and stuff, and sometimes I buy video games, but that's like a budgeted thing. Most of my money goes to like college loans, and I try to get that kind of stuff when I can, but I don't know, video games just increasingly get more expensive, so I'm like, what? But anyway, this game I actually could play if I wanted to, but I often just watch Let's Plays because it's easier, I can consume more content. I've been watching Manly Badass Hero play Your Turn to Die, and that's another thing that I'm almost finished with. He is playing the final chapter, and I'm so excited to see where this will go. There have been so many twists and turns. I didn't expect it to be as good or even close to as good as Danganronpa, but I think in a lot of ways it is. The art is a bit weird. I like the way it looks, but I think that some things aren't proportioned very well, like sometimes hands or legs on certain characters. But the story is pretty good. I like that the deaths in there, they're kind of like abrupt, sudden. You don't always expect what's going to happen. Suddenly someone is just dead and you don't know what to do. And that's kind of like the situation in real life. It just comes, it happens, you can't stop it, it's inevitable. And this just builds up so much suspense, and there are so many different things you wouldn't expect, like, oh shoot, this character actually has a completely different identity, or oh man, this character was related to this character, who would have thought that? And oh shoot, they've made living dolls and AIs of us, what's going on here? I really want to know how this ends. I want to see if my favorite characters will survive. Since I already warned about spoilers, you know, there's only 6 left, I believe. There's Kana, Reiko, Kyutaro, Sarah, and then there's Keiji and Gin. Honestly, if I had to predict, I think that since the pattern has been 2 people dying, I would assume that Reiko would die and Kyutaro would die. That would be my guess, and that would be what I would hope slightly, not necessarily, but I really want Sarah to live. She's the main character, obviously I feel like she's gonna, and then there's Keiji, who's kind of become her partner. I feel like he could maybe end up dying, but I'd be really mad if he did. I actually really like him. Even if he turned out to be the mastermind or something, I would not care. That man is attractive, I really dig him. He tries to be honest, but he does slip in lies, and Sarah is becoming wary of that. I also like Gin. He's just so cute. I would totally cosplay him just because he's adorable, and even for being a kid, he's really strong for the situation that he's in. I do like Reiko, but I feel like it wouldn't be the saddest if she died, because then in a way she'd be with her brother. That sounds so morbid, but I feel like that's a route that they could end up taking. And then there's Kyutaro, who I feel like has been maybe death flagged a little bit in previous chapters, but he's made it this far. Honestly, usually the muscle man in these types of things don't survive, so maybe they'd pull something unique and let him survive. But I really wouldn't be that heartbroken if he died. It seems like he's trying to be a good person, but oftentimes he just kind of isn't. I don't know how to explain that very well, but he's just not really one of my favorites. And then there's Kana, and I feel like because So died and kind of left his wishes with her, and, you know, she went through her sister's death, sees So die. She was almost willing to sacrifice herself to save Sarah at the end. I feel like after all of that, she has to get character progression now. And if they killed her off, I just feel like it wouldn't make a lot of sense. I feel like it's building up for her to be a stronger person and be able to survive. So, you know, I just feel like she'll probably be safe. Did I talk about everybody there? Kyutaro, Reiko, Keiji, Sarah, Gin? Yeah. So I guess that's about it. I know that this was very unstructured and this went on a lot longer than I anticipated. Oh, and I didn't even talk about cosplays either. My sister bought me Chiaki Nanami's backpack. I do have a full Chiaki Nanami cosplay transformation video up on my channel if you wanted to check that out. I didn't think that the backpack was a complete necessity, and I didn't have the money to also include the backpack at the time. So now that I'm going to have that, I'm definitely going to cosplay her on Friday and hopefully make a lot of cool videos with that. And I also bought some glue sticks at the store today so that I can learn how to glue my eyebrows down, and I'd like to do an incomplete cosplay of Gara, but my man has no eyebrows, so I need to cover these bad boys. So now I'm set with that. And then, you know, I've got 1,000 other cosplays. I've got some OCs. I've got plenty of stuff that I already have going on. So I don't have a ton of future cos plans just yet until I have more things. But I do just want to have fun with the characters that I do have and, you know, continue on. I want to do the 100 Healings version of Sakura. I haven't tried the makeup for that yet, but I do have a wig. I've done a casual Sakura cosplay, and I'd like to bring that into more depth. So anyway, that is about it for this video. I'm so sorry that it's so long. People probably aren't even staying this long, but I just want to rant about all the things that I'm interested in to somebody. If you think that it would be better for me to just, I don't know, go through volumes individually or something like that, I could maybe try to set things more up that way. I just thought that doing, like, for example, I'm almost finished with Demon Slayer and I want to talk about that, but doing full-length reviews can take a lot of effort, and I just don't know if I have the space on my laptop to be able to make those videos like that the same way anymore. I may be able to throw something like that together on my phone using iMovie, but yeah, I just kind of have to experiment more with things and see what works out better. Let me know what you would like to see. Was it better when I just did reviews like that? I really should just start scripting things again, perhaps, and go through the extra effort, even though it can be a pain. Anyway, that is it for this video. Please be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe for more content, and I would love to see you in another video. Goodbye.